the church is not aligned with heaven's agenda, it's not a winning church. The winning church is not merely a surviving church. It's not just a gifted church. The winning church is a church aligned with heaven's agenda. You can have crowd, you can have architecture, but if the church is not aligned with heaven's agenda, it's not a winning church. Isaiah chapter number 46 and verse 10. He said, my counsel will stand, and I will do my pleasure. The winning church is the church that understands the purpose of God and align with the purpose of God. The winning church is a church that understand the counsel of God and align with the counsel of God. That is the winning church. God is particular about his agenda on earth. A church that will always be in command is a church that understands the times and season and understand what God is saying per unit time. Like the children of Issachar, they had understanding of times and they were in command. First Chronicles chapter number 12 and verse 32. For a church to be a winning church, they must know what heaven is talking about the earth per unit time. What is the recent move of God in your environment? What does God want to do in Emeka? What does God want to do in River State? What does God want to do in Nigeria? That is a winning church. A church is God's governing embassy on earth. That is what the church is. And the embassy cannot be independent of the state that it represents. Our definition of success in church may not be God's definition of success in church. It's not a crowd church. It's not a social media presence church. It's not the architecture, but a church that is aligned with what God is doing per unit time. When you forget your embassy identity, you become a powerless church. A winning church is a church prevailing over the powers of darkness. I will build my church, and the gate of hell shall not prevail against it. Jesus speaking to the apostle in Luke chapter number 10 verse 19. He said, behold, I give you authority to trample upon snakes and scorpions and the whole length of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 1. The Bible says he gathered them, and then he gave them power over unclean spirits. So a winning church is a church that has power over unclean spirits. A winning church is a church that is prevailing against the powers of darkness. If you are not dealing a deadly blow to the kingdom of darkness, you are not winning. Biblically, winning is not competition. It is conquest. Churches are competing with one another. That's not a winning church. Winning is not competition, it's conquest against the powers of darkness. There is no competition, my brother. It is making sure that the powers of darkness bow, giving them a deadly blow, depopulating hell and populating heaven. That is a winning church.